Monday, March 8th. Senate Finance and Education, Finance and Policy Committee will come to order. Members, we have one bill on the agenda today, Senate File 1525. I'll be presenting that. I will turn the gavel over now to Senator Justin Eichhorn. Oh, I will say that we do have time limits on people, as is normal procedure for something like this. Please, all testifiers, try to adhere to that time limit, and we'll get done in good time then. So with that, that'll be my only reminder. Senator Eichhorn, I'll hand it over to you.
Senator Chamberlain, thank you. I've got the gavel. Senator Uyghur, did you accidentally put your hand up? I don't know if there's any questions to answer quite yet.
Well, yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Chamberlain, are we going to be taking action today or just considering testimony, and it'll be that could have an influence on questions?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Senator Chamberlain?
Yeah, we're going to move this to, it's going to have to go to State Gov from here.
Senator Uyghur?
Well, okay, let's get on.
All right, Senator Chamberlain, to your bill, we are on Senate File 1525, and others on this call that are not Senator Chamberlain, if you could mute your mic, you're getting a little bit of feedback, folks. To your bill when you're ready.
Oh, that's beautiful. So I just have thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I just have a couple of minutes of opening comments. I'm going to turn it over to the testifiers so we can get through all of them. So, Mr. Chair and members, this proposal of Senate File 1525 is about families first, putting families first in all we do in education. What is best for the kids and for the parents. It begins and ends with the kids and their parents. It's about the dignity of our children. This proposal will remove barriers. It will allow children equal access to quality education by allowing parents to decide what is best for their kids. This is a pro-education proposal through and through. Many will treat this as an either-or situation, but it is not. It's a both and. This is about 21st century education system for vibrant, diverse, and rich culture. I will just make a quick mention of special needs children. This bill does not exclude special needs children from anything. If they like the service they're receiving from their school, the public school, they can continue to stay there. It does not remove the federal FAPE requirement at all. If they choose to go somewhere else, not only do they get the general ed revenue, but they get the money that is attached to their services. In states like Arizona, that ranges from about $20,000 to $26,000 for those children. So the children of special needs are not left behind. So a couple of quick points, and I'll turn this over about polling, science, and even existing choice programs. The polling for this, for school choice, parent empowerment, has been consistent over the years. Overall, it's 65% support for empowering parents' choice and self-determination. 74% of African Americans, when polled, support these proposals. 71% Hispanic parents support school choice. Now to science. It's been updated a couple of times, and the most recent edition of this review is 100 studies. 100 studies have been conducted of school choice, in particular 5 different areas. And these studies have reviewed and have been overwhelmingly positive. Academic outcomes for private school children, 18 studies, 14 positive, 2 no effect, 2 negative. Taking money from public schools, so what's the financial impact on public schools? 28 studies, 25 are positive, 3 had no effect, no negative impact on the financial situation of public schools. Academic outcomes of public schools, 33 studies, 31 positive, 1 no effect, 1 negative effect. Racial impact for these schools, 10 studies, 9 positive, 1 no impact, 0 negative. Finally, civic values and practices, 11 studies, 8 were positive, 3 found no impact. Finally, a quick thing about choice. Choice already exists in our public education system. It exists in the pre-K world where scholarships are given to parents. And they get to choose this preschool of their choice, state dollars. And of course, college grants where the grantees can choose the public, either a public or private university or college to go to. But the parents are not allowed to do that in K-12. The question is why? We're trying to address that. So in closing, again, members, Mr. Chair, this is about families first, self-determination, empowering parents. Parents know what is best for their children, and they should be allowed the opportunity to access education that best meets the needs of their children. That's all this is, a vibrant, diverse culture in need of an education system that is reformed to reflect those needs. So finally, Mr. Chair, I'd like to, we're truly fortunate and blessed to have our first testifier, Miss Virginia Walden Ford. She was a single mother who led the fight in DC to get choice for DC students in their schooling. And those of you who are not aware, she was the subject of the movie Miss Virginia, which was released in 2019. Her story about it was a story about her struggle for choice and empowerment in DC schools. So, Mr. Chair, I'll turn it back over to you. And I really, really appreciate having Miss Walden Ford here today, share some thoughts and share her story. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Chamberlain. Before we go to Ms. Walden Ford, I forgot to ask at the beginning of your testimony if you had any author's amendments. I believe this is your first stop, so if you had an amendment, it'd be an author's amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have one author's amendment.
Okay, do you want to just describe the amendment quick and then we'll
Yeah,
there's just a ton of background noise. I don't know if it's feedback or what. Just want to make you aware of that.
Yep.
It is it's an amendment removing the 5-year pilot. My desire is not to have this a pilot program, to make it permanent going forward. So that's what we removed, 2 different references to that.
All right, on Senator Chamberlain's motion to add the A1 author's amendment, members' cameras on, thumbs up. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. The motion does prevail to your bill as amended. We've got, you've already described it to us. Thank you. So we've got Miss Walden Ford up next. If you just want to unmute yourself, please state your name for the record and go ahead.
My name is Virginia Walden Ford. F-O-R-D.
Thank you, Ms. Walden Ford. Please go ahead and start with the testimony.
Okay, good afternoon to the chairman and the members of the committee. And Senator Chamberlain, thank you for that great introduction. It is with such pleasure that I can be here to talk about school choice. My fight for school choice for all children started with a much smaller population, my own 3 children, and more specifically, my youngest son. Life was truly challenging raising children in Washington, D.C. in the 90s. There was always worry about the mean streets attracting my children. I decided as a young mother that I would do all I could to make sure that that did not happen. And I made sure to stay closely in my children's lives. That wasn't always an easy task. I was a single mother, working hard to make ends meet while still being involved in my children's lives. It was hard, but my 2 older children found their places in life and school, and working as a family, they excelled. But I learned that I needed a different educational option for my youngest son. But I faced obstacles in being allowed to choose a school that fit him better than our district school. In the 2 decades that have passed since I started my personal quest for school choice, I fought for more educational rights for all parents. In 1998, I formed a grassroots organization, DC Parents for School Choice. Along with a group of dedicated parents, we went door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, recruiting and training thousands of parents to stand up for their children's future. In 2003, with the support of national education organizations and lawmakers, we convinced Congress and the President President George W. Bush to enact the nation's first ever Opportunity Scholarship Program for low-income children, a program that set into motion a complete overhaul of Washington, D.C.'s education system. This program provides scholarships for low-income children to attend private schools while boosting federal funding for traditional public school and public charter schools. Since the program's inception, thousands of students have received scholarships, and the program boosts a 91% high school graduation rate. There is a misconception that school choice is anti-public school or even about just one form of choice, whether that be charter schools, private schools, or any other specific type of program. The truth is that school choice for families means extending educational opportunity for everyone and finding the right school or program that is a fit for every individual child. For me, it's about parents and children. The terms school choice and parental choice are really interchangeable when talking about picking what is best for kids. Yet so many people don't understand what school choice means. To me, it means finding an educational environment that best meets a child's needs. My children all had different learning styles, so I looked for schools and programs that would nurture their particular needs. I realized then that traditional public school, public charter schools, public magnet schools, private schools, online schools, homeschooling, and hybrids of these all have qualities that parents should look at in determining the best education for their children. After all, we're our children's first teachers. We know what they mean. Offering different options to parents through school choice programs is just what is needed to make sure every child receives a quality education. That is what school choice actually means. It's not about preferring one type of school over another. It's about offering many excellent options that parents can utilize to best develop their children. For the last few years, I've traveled all over America, encouraging parents, legislators, and supporters to learn more about school choice options. I have also participated during the COVID-19 pandemic on virtual events to help parents as they make choices for their children. Through legislation such as SF 1525 that Senator Chamberlain has proposed, America's children can succeed, but we must continue to put children first. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Waldenford, for your testimony and being here today. We greatly appreciate it. And we're getting a little background noise from yours as well. So if you'd mute. It might be on our end here. We're just trying to get rid of that before we go to the next testifiers.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I think it's coming from your room. The anomaly happens when you come off mute.
Right here.
Okay, I think we're good now. I don't hear any additional background noise. So we will go into the next three group of testifiers, the cons testifiers, about 4 minutes each. I've got a Dosh Uni first, followed by Steve Adams. Mr. Uni, go ahead and you know the drill. Yourself and state your name for the record.
All right, thank you, Chair.
Hang on just a second. Ms. Waldenford, if you would mute yours. I think we're getting some background noise from yours as well. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Uni, go ahead.
All right. My name is Steve Adams. I'm treasurer of the Hopkins School Board.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
I have you second. I have a Dosh Uni first.
Oh, okay. With the
You're up.
feedback, I had
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, it's a little hard to hear. I think we've got it figured out though.
All right.
You're second. Mr. Uni, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, my name is Adosh Uni. I'm the Director of Government Relations for the Minnesota Department of Education. And thank you for the opportunity to testify on this bill. I had the opportunity to connect briefly with Senator Chamberlain. Section 1 of Article 13 of the state constitution requires the legislature to establish and support a general and uniform, thorough and efficient system of public schools throughout the state. Now more than ever, our students, families, educators, and public schools need our support. Through the Due North Plan, Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan have called for a focus on children and families and recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic by making a significant and meaningful investment in our public schools that by law have the duty to serve all students. The state should not be directing taxpayer funds for private schools as this bill does. Private schools do not have the same responsibility to serve all students as public schools do, regardless of where they live or who they are. First, all communities have public schools. There's no similar expectation that private schools be equitably accessible to students across the state. Additionally, public schools are required to serve all of our students, regardless of who they are, including students with other needs and LGBTQ+ students, for example. Private schools are not required to provide all students with many of the protections afforded by law. They could also restrict admission to students based on a range of factors. We have no way of holding private schools accountable for fairness in their admission policies. Notably, the bill explicitly provides no support to students with disabilities that they currently receive by requiring a parent to agree that the student has no entitlement to a free and appropriate public education from the resident districts. There are no assurances that they will get their needs met by the non-public school. Public schools do the right thing and provide the resources necessary to meet an individual's needs, even though they know the total cost will be underfunded and have to be made up elsewhere in the budget because state and federal funding falls short. While there are private schools that serve students with disabilities, many still can simply deny access to these students. There are also no promises of services for English language learners, and private schools are not required to have anti-bullying policies. Minnesota already has many school choices for parents and students. Current public school choice options include interdistrict and intra-district open enrollment, magnet schools, charter schools, post-secondary enrollment options, concurrent enrollment, alternative schools, and a range of programs including AP IB, gifted and talented, online learning, and special education. This bill will further weaken our public schools by diluting our investments and supports. We have a responsibility to fully support them, not divert funding into private schools that don't have the same accountability, expectations, or open doors to offer equitable education. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Uni. I have Mr. Adams up next, followed by Mr. Glasser. Mr. Adams, just unmute yourself. Please state your name for the record and go ahead and get started.
All right. Thank you, Chair Icorn. My name is Steve Adams. I'm treasurer of the Hopkins School Board. And I'm speaking today on behalf of the Minnesota School Boards Association, the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, Association of Metropolitan School Districts, and the Minnesota Rural Education Association, and speaking against Senate File 1525. The topic of choice has been brought up, and as Mr. Uni pointed out, we live in a state that has a robust school choice program, including home schools, charter schools, public schools, magnet schools, post-secondary education options, online opportunities, private schools, and open enrollment. So there's plenty of choice that's out there already. According to the Minnesota Department of Education, less than 7.4% of Minnesota students attend private schools. This bill, however, requires the Department of Education to create some new administrative machinery to process savings accounts for that small number of students. Money that could be better spent to improve the results of the 90% of students who attend public and charter schools. And if you want a list of things that we need in the public schools, I can provide that for you. As Mr. Uni pointed out, private schools are not accountable to the Minnesota Department of Education as public schools are. They're not required to administer the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, MCAs, or submit reports and hold hearings regarding the world's best workforce, which we do in Hopkins on an annual basis. And on a personal note, I should mention that I attended an open house for a private school that's within our district. This was a few years back. And I asked them what their MCA scores were, and they said they don't give them. So having the ability to compare public and private schools becomes manifestly more difficult when you don't have a common measurement stick. As far as the educational savings accounts go, states that have implemented such plans have found a pretty high degree of non-compliance. Arizona found over 700,000 of ineligible expenses were being paid for out of these savings accounts, including things like hairdressers and cosmetics. So they haven't shown to be a great boon for the states that have implemented them. Lastly, as Mr. Uni also pointed out, the Minnesota State Constitution says that, quote, "In no case shall any public money or property be appropriated or used for the support of schools wherein the distinctive doctrines, creeds, or tenets of any particular Christian or other religious sect are promulgated or taught." So it calls into question the constitutionality of this bill. Call me a strict constitutionalist, but it seems to me that the constitutionality of this bill is in question. So I urge the committee to not refer this bill to the floor and oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you for staying under time. This bill will go to State Gov, not to the floor from this committee. We have Simon Glasser up next. Just unmute yourself. Please state your name for the record and go ahead and get started.
Mr. Chair, Senator Chamberlain, members of the committee, my name is Simon Glaser. I am an English teacher at John Adams Middle School in Rochester Public Schools. I have been a professional educator for 28 years, 16 of which as a teacher in E12 schools. I'm also on the executive board of the Rochester Education Association. I am here today to express strong opposition to Senate File 1525. In Rochester, we used to take field trips. This has almost disappeared in the last 7 years due to budget cuts. We used to have a school resource officer assigned to our school. We now share that officer with several other schools. 10 years ago, I used to send a copy of a book home with each of my 150 or so students. Now I have one class set of 33. Our students can't take their books home to study at the end of the day. Elective classes have been eliminated at the middle school level and severely cut at the high school level. Class sizes have increased, particularly in the elementary schools. Busing has been limited and walking boundaries expanded to the state legal limit. Our district has a lot of trouble hiring education support professionals. These positions often sit unfilled for months. Now, these are the professionals who work one-on-one in the classroom with students with additional learning needs, our most vulnerable students. And they are also the professionals who keep our hallways safe. It is hard to hire qualified people because they could make more money working entry-level retail jobs. This committee has heard similar concerns about the short call substitute shortage. The reason many private schools were able to operate in person during this pandemic has nothing to do with a difference in willingness or enthusiasm compared to public schools, and everything to do with class sizes small enough to operate safely at distance. I would love to find out what I could do with class sizes that manageable. You can call it an education savings account, but this proposal creates a tool that directly withdraws money from the general fund and diverts it to, among other things, private school tuition. There is no meaningful difference between this savings account and a school voucher. Setting aside issues of public dollars being spent on religious school tuition, and frankly, as a member of a religious minority, I have a great deal of trouble setting that aside. This bill does not serve the public good. It represents a choice on the part of this body to move funding from public to private schools. And the schools and the choices of this body represent the priorities of Minnesota. Unlike private schools, public schools do serve the public good. Funding public schools promote values that we all believe in: fairness, equal access, a chance for all Minnesotans to thrive. Private schools were not subject to the unfunded mandate to provide childcare to essential workers. They do not provide costly special education and language learner services. They were not required to become food distribution centers. They were not required to meet the state's accountability standards or rigorous teacher licensure expectations. Funding vouchers to private schools does not serve Minnesotans. Instead of draining the general fund, we need to fill it. We need to revise the per pupil funding formula and tie it annually to inflation once and for all. We need to fully fund special education at the state level and stop relying on individual districts to make up the costly difference. We need to fund programs that serve our students and staff of color, including mentoring programs. We need to pay our education support professionals a living wage. We need more community schools providing wraparound services to students and families. We need many more mental health professionals in the schools. I could go on and on, but the point is this. It is now time to increase public school funding, not to decimate it. I urge the committee to oppose this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Now we'll go into the pro side of the testimony. First, we're going to have Mr. Martinez, and then followed by that, Akai Yoshino will be on deck. Mr. Martinez, just unmute yourself. Please state your name for the record and go ahead and get started. Also, for all the pros, those in support of the bill, we're also going to try to keep it to 4 minutes apiece. So when we get close to that, I'll be letting you know to wrap it up. Go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Joaquin Martinez, for the record. I'm a father of 3 children, and the 3 of them go to private education, St. Agnes. I am in favor of this 1525 in support of this ESA. Excuse me for my a little bit nervous. I think it will help my family tremendously. I first was introduced into the private education through a program called Padrinos program, which is sponsored. And after getting to know this private sector, I realized how much my kids needed from this education. If it's very wonderful, my family in a faith, conservative matters. And also what I noticed is I'm also a youth minister by trade for 8 years. And a lot of my teens that I ministered to, I realized that I could easily choose or see who would be in a private school in this sector. As Latino families are very limited from these resources in private schools. We believe that our faith is a primary well-being for our family, but when that's limited for the lack of fundings, again, primarily first generation immigrants, we suffer from that. We make it just enough to do ends meet, and in this sense, it kind of limitates us in this sense. So having a school choice and having some sort of in this sense help from the from the state, it would be wonderful, because our teens need to have the real foundation, and we don't have to go so far to see how teens, when they're growing up in faith, is actually more willing to give back. My daughter Adriana graduated from high school, and later she decided to do a 1 year of ministry, which allowed to give back into the society. So having this sector allows us to grow more deeply in our unity as a state. Especially during this pandemic, I realized that my kids, my 2 younger kids who are still in Andrea in 7th grade and Joaquin Jr. in 5th grade, have done so wonderful. And I think that they see the beauty that they have as a blessing to be back in school with their buddies, with their friends. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm speaking on behalf of perhaps of the Latino population in the Twin Cities, but I am totally in favor in this bill, because it allows us to have more freedom on where our resources are going to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Next up, we have Akai Yoshino, followed by Ordola Taylor. Please just put your camera on, state your name for the record, and go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Aki Yoshino, and I'm here as a parent of a child with special needs. I am testifying in support of this bill today. My support doesn't mean I do not support public schools. I've been a huge proponent in the past, and I continue to be one today. I'm the product of Minnesota K through 12 public education. I attended the University of Minnesota for undergrad and grad school. I'm even a proud former public school math teacher. I am the mother of a beautiful 13-year-old boy named Kai, who is diagnosed with autism and generalized anxiety disorder. My son is currently a student at the Academy of Whole Learning in Minnetonka, Minnesota, a school designed to serve kids just like Kai. Kai was enrolled in public school, and while it was never easy, it was manageable for Kai until the 4th grade. At that point, the learning had accelerated to a pace that was too much for him. His IEP had him in a neurotypical mainstream classroom for half the day and in a smaller autism-only classroom for half the day. He started throwing up on the walk into school each day. His anxiety kicked in the second he walked into his school of about 500 students. All of the noise, the crowdedness of the hallways, the smells from the breakfast being served, it was too much for his sensory processing disorder. Every day it was difficult for him to eat lunch in the cafeteria, and he would cry about it every night. The school made all the accommodations they could, but they could never reduce the number of students and the sheer amount of stimuli that Kai faced every day. Autism is a whole body condition. It is a condition diagnosed both medically and academically. There are so many challenges that Kai faces that for him, the entire school setting has to be designed with his needs in mind for him to have a fair shot at learning. When my son began throwing up each morning as we approached school, I looked for alternatives. That is when I found the Academy of Whole Learning. It is a nonprofit private school and clinic that serves neurodiverse children such as those with autism and ADHD. He is now with the same group of 6 peers all day. He has formed friendships. He was never able to do that with his disjointed day before. Our school has a total of 73 students, so walking in and out has never been stressful for him. When he started at the Academy of Whole Learning, his therapist for anxiety told me it was a great decision. She said, I can tell that in this new setting, he is not using all of his bandwidth to just regulate his body. The removal of all the extra stimuli is allowing him to focus better and learn. He is thriving. I am so grateful for the Academy of Whole Learning, but it comes at a cost. We spend more on tuition than we do on our mortgage. The cost of raising my one special needs child is more than my sister's cost for raising 4 neurotypical children. Special needs families are bombarded with occupational therapy bills, speech therapy bills, vision therapy bills, and all kinds of bills to help our children achieve their greatest potential. And all of it is worth it, but it puts a huge financial burden on families like mine. Some may consider this a school choice bill, but I am here to remind you that for some of us, it is not a choice. Having my son throw up every morning as he walked into school, that was not a choice. That was okay for me. We are merely doing what we have to keep our children as well as possible. When we are sick, we are allowed to see a specialist. Our insurance does not walk away from us and say, you're on your own now. All that we are asking is that if our students have super specialized educational needs, that we are allowed to see educational specialists and that we don't go bankrupt in the process.
Please wrap up your comments.
Sure. So this is not either or. I don't think a vote for this bill is a vote against public school. I think a vote for this bill is for fair schooling for children of all needs. So I would just like to thank you for listening to me today, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. We have Ms. Taylor up next, followed by Kendall Qualls. Please just unmute and state your name for the record and go ahead and get started.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Oradella Taylor. I'm a parent of 3 boys, and I live in St. Paul. We live in St. Paul. My first experience with the public school system here was very positive. My kids went to the French immersion, L'Etoile du Nord, St. Paul Public School, and everything was fabulous. Up till about 6 years ago, under the administration of Superintendent Silva, she came in with all this disruption and the changes that she made. If you look through your records in the Minnesota Department of Education, you'll see that the quality of the schooling there has dropped dramatically. LNFI went from being one of the best schools in the St. Paul public school system to being what it is now, a standard run-of-the-mill school. It had a huge waiting list of kids from even outside the district trying to come in, and that's no longer the case. Some of the disruptions that happened, they call equity. Some of it included taking specialists out of the classroom, so no more art, no more music, no more cursive, spelling words as you like, and then this everyday math curriculum. So all of these things added up to destroying actually high quality education in the St. Paul public schools. So parents had to react. We had to do something. As a parent and a single mother, very involved with my kids' education, I saw the differences and I had to pull them out of St. Paul Public School. So 6 years later, we're still trying to come to terms with everything. My oldest had the benefit of a very good beginning at L'Etoile du Nord. So he's actually ranked #1 in his class, and he's back in the St. Paul Public School at Central High in 10th grade. My other 2 have been more of a struggle. We've been at charter schools, and my middle one, he's more, for his personality, he now goes to the Academy for Science and Agriculture, doing farming, cooking, those sorts of things. That's more his personality, which is not an option in the St. Paul Public School. So that's working for him. My youngest, I had to put in private school during COVID. He was not doing well in the charter school he was in, but he also had no supervision. I work outside the home, and I at some point was having my older 2 go and try to supervise the youngest, and that wasn't working out. So this year, a radio station had a scholarship program where they offered half off tuition. And so I was able to put my youngest in a private school where he's supervised every day, and I don't have to worry about that. But that runs out next year, and I'm looking at paying $900 a month for his tuition, and that's not affordable for me. So that is why I support this bill. It gives parents choices. It is not like we will not be in the public school if the public school was performing, but the public schools are failing us for whatever reason, whatever programs coming out of the district. That is why I've had to leave the public school for the betterment of my kids. So I do believe the funding should follow the kids and give parents choices for what's best for the family. So I thank you for hearing my testimony.
Thank you for your testimony. Up next, we're going to have Kendall Qualls. I'm just going to mention one more thing. It sounds like Ms. Walden Ford is only going to be able to be with us until 4 o'clock. So we'll take just a couple-minute break between Kendall and Trish Anderson. If any members have a question for Ms. Virginia Walden Ford, we'll take those quickly after Kendall, and then do the rest of the questions after the testimony is finished up. But I wanted members, if they had a question for Ms. Walden Ford, to be able to have the opportunity to ask that before she had to leave the call. So Kendall, you're up, and then we'll go into just any questions for Ms. Virginia. Go ahead, Kendall.
All right, Chairman, thank you. And members of the committee, thank you for allowing me to testify today. My name is Kendall Qualls. I reside in Medina, Minnesota. And before I make my case for the ESA bill, let's put a proper framework around this current situation we're in. And based on the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis report on education, African-American children have the largest academic gap, ranking near the bottom of the country in performance. So in regards to performance and the consistent levels of that poor performance, that brings us to the situation we are in today. So we're not dealing with normative situations. We're putting dire straits. So with that said, I come from the world of people and organizations that expect results, and that's the nature of my testimony today. For that reason, I am a big supporter of this bill. Education is the quickest path out of poverty for anyone, regardless of race. I know because education was the pathway for me. It changed the course of my life and hence the lives of my children. That's why I commend you, Senator Chamberlain, for this initiative. With that said, I have a message for both parties in all branches of state government. I'm appealing to our shared history as Minnesotans and as Americans. There was a time when our country was more divided than it is today, and that was during the American Civil War. Minnesota Governor Alexander Ramsey was in Washington, D.C. visiting President Abraham Lincoln on the day the Civil War broke out. Governor Ramsey pledged that Minnesota would help, and the 1st Minnesota Volunteer Regiment was sent east to defend the capital. 2 years after that, in the infamous Battle of Gettysburg, it was men from the 1st Minnesota Regiment that helped turn the tide in favor of the Union Army. Union forces won the Battle of Gettysburg, and it helped win the Civil War, and it also preserved the Union. It also helped free American Black slaves. However, it was at a huge sacrifice. The 1st Minnesota Volunteer Regiment suffered an 80% casualty rate. That casualty rate was the highest in the Civil War, regardless if it was Union or Confederate troops. In fact, it's the highest casualty rate to this very day in the U.S. Army. So addressing you today is a descendant of those freed slaves, and I'm calling upon all elected officials to support this bill to help give poor Black mothers and their children an opportunity to be freed from bondage of failing and dangerous schools. That is all they are asking for. No guilt trips on racism, no demands for reparations, just an option to choose. Give them an opportunity to put their children on a different path, to be contributors to society, and join the ranks of people that are grateful to be Americans. Don't give in to the lobbyists that want to defeat this bill. I'm encouraging you to win another battle for freedom for our weakest citizens. When you do that, they'll come to admire and respect the state of Minnesota and love our country just as much as I do. Chairman, I yield the remainder of my time, and I thank you for this time to testify before the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Qualls. And if you're willing to hang around, there may be questions after, but any member that has a question specifically for Miss Virginia Walden Ford, please ask that now again, because she can only stay with us till about 4 o'clock, and I wanted members to have that opportunity if they had a question specifically for her. Otherwise, we'll get through the rest of the testifiers and open it up for questions. So members, any questions? Senator Chamberlain? You're on mute, Senator. There you go.
Not so much a question, but I just, doing this remotely, this digital technology is certainly helpful. Without it, we would not have been able to get Miss Walden Ford here. But it is a bit of a disadvantage when we can't see each other and meet each other face to face, that personal relationship. But I just wanted to share again how grateful we are to have you here and share your thoughts, Ms. Ford. And thank you for your efforts, for your children, and for others, that the work you've been doing around the country. And I think one day we'll be successful. So I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. It's wonderful to be here. And it's wonderful to see people around the country that are really looking at saving our children. Most parents are really struggling with what to do right now, but we've seen the struggle going for years. This legislation could free a lot of parents into being able to make choices for their children. When my son was in school, we realized that he needed something different, but I didn't have the resources to put him in a school. And when I did, I was unable to keep him there. We don't want parents. I remember that feeling. I remember what that felt like to not be able to keep him in a school that I thought was serving him well, how hard that was for me. So this legislation could make other parents not have to go through what I had to go through with my own family, and what I've seen thousands of parents around this country have to go through with their kids. We need to be able to make choices for our children that are the best choices. So as you move forward, I hope that people will remember to keep the children and the parents in their hearts. we need to be able to make choices that are better for our kids. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so sorry I have to get off now, but again, thank you. I hope I'll get to come there at some point, and if I can do anything else in the meantime, I will.
Thank you, Ms. Waldenford, and thanks for sharing your story and your testimony and your experience with us. It's important to hear that as well. And now that I've heard of the movie, I'm interested to hear more about it. So I'm definitely going to try to watch that at some point. So thanks for sharing with us. You're welcome to stick around as long as you're able to. Otherwise, if you have to get off now, that's fine too. But thanks for being with us today. Please mute yourself again, and then we're going to continue on with our testifiers. Again, 4 minutes per testifier. Trish Anderson. After Miss Anderson, we've got looks like Miss Lazo after that. So, Miss Anderson, just state your name for the record and go ahead and get started.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, for the record, my name is Trisha Anderson, and I'm here as a parent of 2 children. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of this bill. When school shut down in March 2020, I was working overnight as a custody officer at the county jail, and my husband was unemployed. My husband did his best to support our kids and become their assistant teachers, while I did my best to get some sort of sleep after a 12-hour shift. Unfortunately, our days were filled with our daughter in tears and screaming in frustration because we were not helping her with the math problems the way her teachers taught her to do them. And my son would be in tears trying to learn advanced math in middle school science on his own because we didn't understand the expected process of obtaining the answers based on the curriculum chosen by the Department of Education for public schools. During this time, we realized the set curriculum for the entire district was not the best for our children, and we felt like we lost our ability to help them academically. Our home became a battleground as we fought through each school day and hunkered down at night in survival mode, dreading the next day of school assignments. During the summer of 2020, we began to explore other options for the next school year. Full-time distance learning was not an option for our family because now that we both had full-time jobs and we learned from the previous school year, we needed to find an option that could better meet the academic, social, and mental health needs for our children, with more certainty for in-class education than what the public schools in our area had to offer. Unfortunately, even with both of us working, we did not have the money for both kids to attend a private school or to pay for a tutor or caretaker to assist our kids throughout the day if they were in distance learning through public schools. We had to make the difficult decision to just send our daughter to a private school and our son distance learning through the public school. Our daughter's experience this year, amazingly positive and uplifting. She's growing spiritually, emotionally, and academically while socially interacting with peers and adults who add value to her daily growth. My son, on the other hand, has continued to struggle mentally, socially, and academically because the district decided to stay in distance learning model, and this was not the best learning experience for him. Even with the pandemic, our kids should not have to be in a one-size-fits-all system. With the education savings account, we would not have to choose one child over the other. We as parents should have the decision-making control to choose the best education options that meet the social, academic, spiritual, and mental health needs of both kids without worries of funding. The education savings account will help parents find the best options for our children, increase the quality in education, and improving the learning experience for each student. Please support this bill and help families make the choice that is best for them. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, I have Miss Lazo. I don't know if I see her on the screen anymore. If you're on here, Miss Lazo, please turn your camera on and unmute yourself.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for your time.
For the record, and go ahead and get started.
Yeah, my name is Blanca Lazo. And I would like to say thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, for your time this afternoon. I am here to ask the parent of 2 children are attended to public school and the other attend to the private school. My daughter needs something different. I can tell you the first hand that no child do well in the public school. My daughter needs something different and is struggling financially I can afford it. I feel that parents know what is the best for their children, and they should not to have to worry about the financial border or equally education. I am very proud of my two children who each graduate and are in there, and they are in the way to bright future. I would like to all children to have this possibility, and for parents not to be struggling to afford it. Senate 1525 is important because I will allow money to follow the students. I know that this will help many families like mine. The best to make best decisions for the children. Mr. Chair and committee, thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Next up, I have Mr. Turner and then followed by Kofi. Mr. Turner, go ahead and unmute yourself and state your name for the record. See him on there? He was on here earlier. I don't see him on here at the moment. He may be having some technical difficulties. We will circle back and put him at the end of the list. So Kofi, you're up next, followed by Miss Wigfall. So Kofi, go ahead and get started. Just state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Kofi Monska. I live in Shoreview with my husband and 3 kids, ages 13, 15, and 16. My 16-year-old has special needs. So today I'm going to talk about kids of color and special needs kids who are of a passion for both, and I have personal experience with both. So I often hear people use kids of color and special needs kids as a reason to oppose a bill like this, and I disagree with it. They talk about kids of color in saying that if we take money away from public schools, it will hurt kids of color. Well, number one, if schools do a good job, parents won't move their kids. They will keep them there. Second, what is the point in funding a school if it's not educating the children? That is the whole point of it. And if they're not doing that, then they shouldn't be in existence. Third, money already leaves schools when kids leave schools. So it's nothing new that it would leave schools. It leaves when they go to charters, when they move to a different district, all of that. And as Senator Chamberlain said, there's been no negative impact with these types of programs on schools in other states as far as funding goes. Also, and most importantly, more money does not mean a better education. So if we give schools more money and keep the money there, in Minneapolis, the per student rate is $26,000 a student. The average in Minnesota is $12,000. That's over half. Yet they do the worst, the absolute worst academically. So there's even an example that we see. Throwing more money in and having more money does not mean there's going to be a better education. Black kids especially will benefit the most from school choice because we in Minnesota have one of the largest Black-white achievement gaps in the country. Just one example, we are third for math in the whole nation, third worst for 4th graders. We need this for Black kids. If a Black kid goes to a private school, there's a 98% chance, 98% graduation rate. Public school, 62%. We're almost guaranteeing success if someone chooses a private school. Also, Black kids who are in the same neighborhood, if one attends a private school, one attends a public school, they will score above the national averages in the standardized tests. So, a good education can even overcome socioeconomic barriers. And what I find most disturbing is that Minnesota is really amazing when it comes to white kids. Like we're one of the top as far as education goes. We're one of the top, but we're one of the worst for Black kids. Why can't Black kids have the same access to a good education as white kids? I don't get it. It's embarrassing because it shows we know how to do it, yet we're failing a population that we say we care so much about. So that obviously, as you can tell, makes me upset. So next, I want to talk about special needs kids. As I said before, I have a kid with special needs who is 16. We need more choices as a parent with special needs kids. Number one, like when the governor orders distance learning, like he's done twice, my kid doesn't get any education at all. He can't read, he can't navigate a computer screen. So my kid goes without any education. And had I had the option to take my kid to a private school that's open, with his dollars, I would have done so, because now he's missed almost an entire year of school. My kid has, which he's guaranteed by the IDEA. Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but like for the whole district, my kid's in setting 3 because he's very high needs. He has very, high needs to do with intellectual disability. So he is in a setting 3 classroom. For the entire district of Roseville, we have one setting 3 classroom. So if I'm not happy there, I'm stuck. So this has happened to me twice. This is not in theory. In kindergarten, he's in preschool, the special needs program. I go to the kindergarten, I see the classroom. It's absolutely insane. I don't want to send him there. I just can't. My heart breaks, I cry. And I said, what are my options? They say, you have none. Move him out of district. Well, I couldn't find a place to go. So I held my kid back a year, which has huge consequences because now he loses a year of post-secondary education. It happened again in 7th grade. Terrible classroom. It was the most terrible experience ever for my baby, the entire year. And I had nowhere to go. There was one classroom in the entire district for him. And so do you know what I did? Somebody told me about a charter school for special needs kids that I could get into if I waited in line like a stinking concert. So I did. Parents were outside waiting in line to get into this charter school for like 2 or 3 days. They rented stinking porta potties to wait in line to get into this charter school. I ended up arriving in the middle of the night before. I was later than all the others toward the back of the line, just praying I'll get in. But that's the kind of desperation there is for more choice. And that's how bad it is for special needs kids in the public school system. So, and people, oh, we've got charters, blah, blah, blah. Well, charters aren't enough. Every single charter I've dealt with has a waiting list or a lottery. We need more options for our kids. And just to say that because the kid's in a public school, it's going to do great, that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes the experience is good, sometimes it's bad, just like everywhere else. And when it's bad, we need an option. It's terrible enough when you have a special needs kid because you try to apply for a school, which I've done many times, and the first thing they ask for is the IEP. So you get so nervous they're going to look at everything negative about your baby and deny them, and it's heartbreaking. And we need more options, period, for our kids.
Please wrap up your testimony.
Okay, so in sum, there's a lot of talk about equity, a lot of talk about I see you, I hear you, I stand with you. So if you say you care about Black people, then actively do something that will make a tangible difference in their lives and give them the option to use their taxpayer allotted funds to get a better education for their kid if they choose. I don't see how anyone can say they care about Black people or low-income people and keep them trapped in public schools. So if you care, prove it by how you vote instead of just having meaningless sentiments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, we have Ms. Wigfall, and then followed by Lee Mcgrath. Go ahead and just turn your camera on, state your name for the record, and go ahead and get started.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senator Chamberlain, members of the committee. My name is Katrin Wigfall, and I am a policy fellow at Center of the American Experiment and a former public teacher. Thank you for the opportunity today to comment on Senate File 1525, the Education Savings Accounts for Students Act, which I am speaking in support of. As we've heard from other testifiers, there is no greater door to success than an excellent education, but too many Minnesota students in our education system are being left behind. And this isn't for lack of effort. Minnesota leaders have tried a variety of reforms over the years to tackle the state's education shortcomings, including consistent spending increases. And yet no meaningful progress has been made in closing our achievement gap, and academic outcomes remain lackluster. Talk about accountability. Accountability is lacking for this return on investment. I understand that improving schools takes time, but we can't keep using the same ingredients and expecting different results. Our students need access to solutions that work better for them now, not years from now, which is why I support this bill as a way to help parents customize their child's education and meet immediate needs. If COVID has taught us anything, it's highlighted a heightened sense of urgency to better meet the needs of students and has revealed the inflexibility of our K-12 system. It could not be clearer that families are desperate for other options, and you've heard from many of them today. Arizona, Florida, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Tennessee currently have ESA programs in place, with a handful of other states, including our fellow Midwest states, Indiana, Iowa, North Dakota, and Kansas, considering their own ESA legislation. Multiple states have advanced and passed ESAs with bipartisan support. ESAs have passed constitutionality tests, and that would pass the test here with Minnesota's Constitution and the US Constitution. This bill prioritizes funding students over systems. Education funding isn't meant for funding buildings. It's meant for funding students and their education. If a child gets a better education that fits his or her needs at one school versus another, why shouldn't that child be able to go there? Efforts to limit the education options families can access and claim that their current options are enough disproportionately impact the least advantaged, including communities of color. It's important to note participation in this program would be voluntary, so students are not forced to give up their rights and protections. If parents don't feel the school of choice is meeting student needs, that family can seek education elsewhere. There will be families who are happy with the education services their public school is providing, and that's great. But there will also be families who recognize their child's learning needs can best be met somewhere else. And when we deprive families of this choice, it's as if we're telling them, we don't trust you with making decisions about your child's education. There's concern about the impact this bill would have on public schools, but student enrollment goes up and down all the time for a variety of reasons, even without school choice policy. Consider local economies shrinking, immigration patterns, rising percentages of empty nesters. These are just a few other ways enrollment shifts. And I want to emphasize, no empirical study has found an educational choice program to cause a negative fiscal impact on either taxpayers or public schools. Take, for example, a family who chooses to shop at Trader Joe's instead of Cub Foods. Is Cub Foods defunded as a result? Or UPS getting package revenue instead of FedEx or the USPS? We see this concept of funds following the individual applied in healthcare as well. Individuals pick service providers, and the funding goes to the provider that is chosen. This should be the same in K-12 education. It's acceptable in higher ed, think of Pell Grants and the GI Bill, which didn't destroy public colleges, and it's acceptable in early childhood programs, which grant funds to families. Children who remain in public schools are also not negatively harmed, as fear often cites. This hasn't been supported by evidence. Over the last few decades, numerous empirical studies have shown that district students can and do actually benefit from a system of choice, including better academic outcomes. Look at Mississippi. Mississippi is a state with a special education ESA program, and yet its Black and Hispanic students in public schools outperform Minnesota's Black and Hispanic students in both reading and math. K-12 education is not a zero-sum game, and it's time for Minnesota to expand educational opportunities that benefit all students, as that's what education is about, no matter what form it comes in. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We have Mr. Mcgrath up next, and then that's the last one on our list. Go ahead, just state your name for the record and go ahead and get started.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Lee Mcgrath. I'm the Senior Legislative Counsel for the Institute for Justice. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in favor of this important legislation. I will restrict my comments to the issue of the constitutionality of this program. I submitted written testimony to the committee, but let me address a couple of the provisions, a couple of the comments from earlier testifiers. Mr. Chairman, members, this bill is constitutional. It has been proven time and time again. The Institute for Justice was established in 1991, and every day since then, we have been defending school choice cases, including 3 cases at the United States Supreme Court. The first testifier raised the issue of the uniform, raised the Article 13, Section 1 of Minnesota State Constitution about the uniform system of public education. That was an erroneous interpretation of the statute, the constitutional provision. The requirement and duty that you have as state legislatures is to establish a system of public education. But that does not mean that you cannot do more. And so this same issue came up in Florida, And the Florida Supreme Court ruled in Citizens for Strong Schools that the requirement of creating, or your counterparts in Tallahassee, creating a public school system does not mean that they cannot do more. In fact, not only does Florida have the same provision as in Minnesota state constitutions, so does Arizona and North Carolina. And no challenge has been made to those programs under that provision. The second testifier raised a similar point that was equally wrong regarding Section 2 of Minnesota State Constitution, Article 13, a prohibition against as to aiding sectarian schools. Last summer, in a case that my colleagues argued called Espinosa versus Montana Revenue Department, the United States Supreme Court struck down this provision in Montana's Supreme Court and Montana State Constitution, and a similar provision would face the same ruling if it were raised in a Minnesota case. What the United States Supreme Court said in Espinosa is that if legislators enter the world of helping parents go to private schools, they cannot discriminate against religious schools. And so by allowing this bill does not violate that provision. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you have about the constitutionality of this bill.
Thank you for your testimony. And then Mr. Turner did reach out to us. He said he's going to submit the committee testimony written. And once we receive that from him, we'll make sure it gets to the committee members. So that is the end of our testifier list. So now we will open it up to member discussion and questions. Senator Isaacson, you had your hand up first earlier. If you want to go first, you're still welcome to. Questions for Senator Chamberlain or any of our testifiers?
Two things. First, I want to call a roll call on this.
Roll call requested, roll call granted.
Thank you.
To your questions.
Yeah, I think that, this shows a real ideological difference, I think, in how things get appropriated, like how we see the solution to the problem. For me, the parents' stories here were pretty gripping and real, and I in no way doubt their experience. I think that makes sense. I mean, you had some pretty horrific spots at the hands of our public schools. There's no doubt that our schools have not, and especially when it comes to people in the BIPOC community, there's just no doubt we have failed there. And that's on my party, that's on the Republican Party, that's on our state government, that's on our lack of support. What I do struggle with, though, and I think we need to solve those problems, and I feel a sense of urgency, as many of those parents that spoke today felt a sense of urgency. I get that, right? What I'm struggling with, and what strikes me as odd, is this. While I think, and I don't know which person said it, they made a really good point that money does not equate to success, and you have to look at Minneapolis compared to Mounds View, right? They're spending approximately the same amount per student, right? So we know money isn't the equalizer in that respect, right? And I think that when you look at the realities of Mounds View and Minneapolis, there's a lot of different socioeconomics going on there, and frankly, different demographics, right? And that makes that a really difficult comparison. But I think more importantly, what I think is important to recognize is that over the last 20 years, we haven't even kept up with basic inflation for our schools. We haven't even taken the time to fund the schools to avoid the problems that many of these parents are talking about. We as a legislature have failed our responsibility and failed our schools because we have chosen not to fund them at the numbers they need just to tread water, much less get ahead. And so for me, the question that comes to my mind then is, why would we spend dollars elsewhere when we're not even taking care of the schools, which by every testifier here today told us they're not getting taken care of? Why would we spend less money in those schools then when they're clearly underfunded? And they have been clearly underfunded for 20 years. Now, my friends across the aisle like to talk about how we've had increases every year. And it's just simple math, folks. If last year it cost 10 cents to buy a pencil, And this year it costs 12 cents to buy a pencil, and I increase your funding to 11 cents. Have I increased your funding? Sure. Are you now able to buy the pencil? No. And that's the reality we're dealing with. We are not funding education adequately. And every testifier here today has given us wonderful examples. Well, I shouldn't say wonderful, very accurate examples of how our public education system has failed, especially people of color. This, however, is not the solution, in my opinion, right? We have a responsibility to public schools and to make them better, right? And there should be accountability for what each one of these parents went through today. There should be absolute accountability for that. And those situations need to be fixed so we're not in that spot anymore. But this spending public dollars on private schools, that's not the answer, nor can I support that because the vouchers don't work for me. There are ways to make this work. I think we have a big overhaul that needs to happen. There has to be a reckoning within our education system. I agree with that. I just don't think this is the solution, right? And so I'm constantly frustrated because I hear my friends across the aisle talk about this and use this issue as a banner issue, right? At the same time, I watch them consistently vote against the things that would provide the funding to those areas that need it most. And that duality is unacceptable to me. I watched my friends across the aisle cut major taxes a couple of years ago for corporations, but couldn't find more money for education. Not cool. So for me, that's a problem. So I am not comfortable with this bill. I want to know, to the extent that it's worth it to anybody that's listening, that I understand and hear what people are saying. I have young kids as well that I worry about, right? But I do not believe this bill gets us there. And to have people from the Center for American Experiment, which is just a joke to begin with, is ridiculous. I can't take their propaganda seriously ever. So I hope when we have people talking, when I hear parents talking, I think that's a wonderful example of what's going on in a real conversation. When you bring conservative think tanks in here, it's hard to take them seriously. So I appreciate the time to talk. I am not a fan of this bill, and I certainly hope that this gets a long look before it gets anywhere near the floor. And thank you for granting the roll call.
Additional questions from members? Senator Uyghur?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Chamberlain, have you requested a fiscal note?
Senator Chamberlain?
No, it's going to go to government and probably come back here before it heads out again.
Okay, when were you going to request a fiscal note?
Senator Chamberlain?
I just told you, Senator Uyghur, it's going to go to government, then to come back here to go to finance.
Okay.
Senator Uyghur?
Okay. Mr. Chair, the question is, did we request it? So I assume the answer was that we will get a fiscal note. Just a rough estimate is if we looked at $9,000 to $10,000 per voucher, and potentially looking at whatever the projection might be, whether it's 300 million, 500 million, $1 billion. We have a letter from not only the Minnesota School Boards Association, but the Minnesota Parents Teachers group, parent groups, and many others saying this very potentially is the largest voucher program in America. And you have, certainly you have the right to advocate that, you have to advocate choice. My significant concern is the siphoning of money from an underfunded public school system right now. So I'll look forward to seeing what that impact is. And as this progresses and returns, we can get that information, I guess. I have another question. There's no accountability on the dollars. It's a separate system. Senator Chamberlain, does it concern you regarding that there is not accountability on potentially $1 billion?
Senator Chamberlain?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Uyghur. Well, I would suggest reading the bill. There's a lot of information going around here, things being said that are not accurate. There is accountability in the bill. There is accountability. Yes, some mechanisms and administration has to be set up to be able to process the dollars allocate them out, put them into accounts, and make sure those dollars are being spent on proper things, such as when they set up an account, they'll have a system of codes. You can national norm codes that are already existing that you can use the debit card on. They'll be auditing and reviewed by persons hired by MDE to give it oversight. So there's plenty of accountability built into the bill. And ultimately, so as far as the dollars going out, I look, ballpark figure, there's going to be some upfront costs to set up the administration and the processes. Got it. We do that all the time in this state. We can walk and chew gum. We can figure these things out. So after that, 6% of the money that is going to be allocated to the parents will be withheld for administrative, the paying for the administration. So it would essentially pay for itself. So there's no, aside from the upfront money to get it set up and running, there's no additional cost. The general ed revenue that for the state, for a child in the state's roughly $9,000 or $10,000. And if they have special needs, as I said earlier in my opening statements, the special needs money follows that child as well. And that can be, in Arizona, it's 20 to 26,000, and some need more than others, obviously. That follows them. So there is accountability in the bill. In statute, it would be in statute, and oversight, as well as, and as far as the spending goes, upfront costs, and then they can retain 6% to administer the program and pay for what they need to keep it going.
Okay.
But
Mr. Chair,
Senator
not to
Uyghur.
progress would is just the wrong way to go.
thank you.
Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Chamberlain. Yes, in terms of providing and accounting for how the money is spent, but looking at the mission of what we have now for the E12 system in World's Best Workforce, we have metrics and Ready for K, reading proficiency, we have tests, whether it's through the MCAs, et cetera. There are no requirements in the non-public system. So if you could address academic accountability.
Senator Chamberlain.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Uyghur. The accountability of the parents, and we can look at the studies and see that these kids are graduating and they're doing much better. The same at-risk class of students is going to Hope Academy, Hiawatha, Hiawatha Prep, Hope Academy, Cristo Rey, and they're succeeding. They're winning. They're beating the odds, and they do it with less money. This happens all over the country. All over the country does this happen. In California, Crazy Like a Fox book, the doctor went out there, transformed 4 charter schools. They went from the bottom percentile performance to the top, and they were able to get into colleges and universities. So the accountability is there. It's shown in study after study. It is shown by the parents. The biggest accountability factor here is the parents are in charge. And if a school's not doing what they're doing, they should be doing, that parent will pull that kid out, or they'll talk to those people in that school. So yes, we have a lot of statute too, Senator Uyghur, members. What has that done? What has it done? What has it done? We have thousands of words, hundreds and hundreds of pages. And what is that rot? And you'll say, well, we just don't have enough money to get it all done. Well, why don't we reorganize it? Why don't we reorganize it? So the accountability is there, Senator Uyghur and members, Mr. Chair, the accountability is there. It's study after study. It's easy enough to find. It's there. And by the way, some public schools still beat the odds too. There's a public elementary school in St. Paul. Got a couple of awards 2 years in a row. They took the same class of struggling kids and had success. North High in North Minneapolis, that I've been to, spoke with the principal again recently. They're having success. So it can be done. It can be done. So thank you, Senator Uyghur, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Additional questions from members?
Well, Mr. Chair, if I could continue, or if there's...
Yep, go ahead, Senator Uyghur. I thought you You're done with your line of questioning. Go ahead.
But we're going to have a chance to revisit this, so I think I'll yield to Senator Swedzinski. I'm very aware of programs for beating the odds, et cetera, but I'd like to address Article 13 of the Constitution. The school boards have laid out a beautiful argument in their letter that's signed by a number of other groups, including parent groups. But this is just the first round of this discussion. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Senator Swedzinski. You're on mute, Senator Swedzinski.
It's my favorite.
Thank you. If only my wife had that feature, huh? Wow, boundary slippage, huh? Okay, she'd love it. Anyways, Chair Chamberlain, you had your hand up while Senator Uyghur was speaking. Can I keep going or?
Yeah, go ahead, Senator.
Okay. We're not going to solve this debate today. It's been ongoing for years. Competition, I don't know what to say about it. It's some would argue it's what made America great in the private sector, in the free market, the private sector, the free enterprise of America. But our children are not commodities. They're not items to be bought and sold in the marketplace. Our kids are in the marketplace of ideas. They're things that are meant to be shaped and molded. And when some people compare our schools with businesses, it just something to me, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard or some such thing. And so I hope this debate continues. I just want to say, I'm generally opposed to vouchers. If I missed this, I apologize at the beginning today. I don't know if the actual program was explained and exactly how the savings accounts actually do work. So if there's something on that I could read at some point, I'd appreciate that. And then lastly, the irony didn't escape me that in the bill, in subdivision 6A, it says directs the commissioner, so on. B, directs the commissioner, so on. C, directs the commissioner, so on. D, corrects the commissioner, and so on. E, directs the commissioner, and so on. F, directs the commissioner, and so on. And later on in the bill, in subdivision 7, it says, the commissioner is prohibited from regulating the educational program of the non-public school that gets provided with ESA funds. I just think that needs to have some work done on it, perhaps, to tell the commissioner they have to do all these tasks that they have a duty to perform, and then later on in the bill to say, and by the way, you don't get to say have a say in how those funds are carried out. Didn't escape me, but I just really appreciate this debate today. And as Senator Isaacson said, our public schools, when we fail the parents, it's a bad deal. And I'm not going to say whether or not the schools need more money, but I'd love to hear. We often hear that the private schools do it better, but what we often don't hear is what exactly are they doing better at? Are they doing better because they have smaller class sizes? Are they doing better because they don't have to accept a certain child that the public schools do have to accept for whatever reason? I mean, what is it they're doing better at? Because I'd like to know, because our public schools should adopt those programs. So anyways, thank you everybody that weighed in one way or the other today. It's been a debate, been going on for a long time in America, and it's fun to be part of it. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional questions from members? I'm not seeing any other hands up. Senator Chamberlain, final comments on your bill, and then if you'd like to move your bill.
Thank you. So first I want to thank the testifiers. Some of them may have left, but thank you for the testimony. It will not be forgotten. It's greatly appreciated to hear from parents and others out there, in spite of disparaging remarks, which Senator Isaacson is entitled to do. So I do thank all of you from my heart for continuing those efforts and hoping to get better for your kids. these testifiers come from all walks of life and from tough beginnings. They are not just people that are cherry picked because they happen to be in a good spot. I've talked to most of them, and their life stories have been challenging. And they have found a path through in spite of challenges and other things or barriers that were put in their way. Things have changed over the past many years, decades. And we need to change with that. And that doesn't mean, another 500 words or 1,000 pages in statute requiring schools to do X, Y, or Z. It is clear with the data and the science that these schools do better for kids, period. There's no doubt about it. Whether it's outcomes for the private schools, outcomes for the public schools, racial situations, whether it's as far as integration, graduation rates, it's choice. It's the 21st century. We need to update and come to the 21st century and allow these parents to exercise their God-given right and get their kids the education they deserve without being told you got to stay in that school. It is infuriating, really, to tell them that. Now, a couple things, Senator Uyghur. I remember being in the minority back in 13 through 16. I remember standing on the floor, going through some of the bills and saying, we're looking for some help for dyslexia and a reading specialist, some other work. Nope, we're going to give it to when we were in the minority. Oh, we're going to give it to the businesses and the gyms. So as Senator Isaacson correctly pointed out, both sides are guilty of this. We both are. I'm not claiming our side is innocent. It should be nonpartisan, I think, as Ms. Monska and others had stated. But I've seen that when I was asking for some support for those kids. So where was it then? Where was it then? So, and commodities, Senator Swedinsky, you've been reading my notes and going back and listening to my tapes of me talking. I never referred to kids as ROI or commodities, but you're correct. They're not commodities, nor will I ever refer to them as ROI, but you're correct, they're not. But believe me, that's how they are being treated. They're revenue centers for the schools. Because each child carries with that child, it has a dollar attached to it for the school. These schools will not be ruined. The public education system will be strengthened. It will exist. Not every child is going to leave, but they should be given equal opportunity to access the quality education of their choice. And equal access, period. A lot of these parents here are fortunate, but a lot are not. And that's what we're looking for. So I do agree with some of the comments of my colleagues, Senator Isaacson, Senator Uyghur, Senator Swedinsky, and others. And all sides are to blame. It shouldn't be that way. So let's try something different. Let's put the knives away, set aside the partisanship, and who happens to be putting money into the coffers. And truly, truly think about what is best for those parents and those children. If they're not getting what they want in a particular school, they should go. The accountability is there. The constitutionality is there. We have to have the will to do it. We have to have the will to do it and do what's right. This is right. This is the right thing to do. There is no doubt this is the right thing to do, to free these parents and liberate them and liberate the public education system to new opportunities, new innovation, and new growth, and new performance and success for those kids. That's what all we're talking about here. So thank you for indulging me for the last few minutes. Mr. Chair, I move that Senate File 1525 be passed and moved, re-referred to the Committee on State Government.
As amended, Senator Chamberlain.
As amended.
1525 as amended. Okay, so the committee legislative assistant Judy will take the roll in just a moment. Members, please turn your cameras on. To vote aye, camera on and thumbs up. To vote nay, camera on and thumbs down. Again, on Senator Chamberlain's motion that Senate File 1525 is amended, do be passed of the Senate Education Committee and sent to the State Government Committee. All those in favor, say aye or nay. I'm handing it over to the legislative assistant to take that.
No, it's a roll call. Senator.
It's a roll call. You got to wait for your name to be called, Senator Kunish.
I lost the sound, so I thought you were taking the vote. My apologies. I'll wait.
The committee legislative assistant will call your name.
Thank you.
Senator Chamberlain,
Aye.
Senator Uyghur,
No.
Senator Eichhorn,
Aye.
Senator Coleman,
Aye.
Senator Swedzinski,
No.
Senator Duckworth,
Aye.
Senator Isaacson,
No.
Senator Kunesh,
No.
Senator Newman,
Aye.
I'm muted, so you can go.
Thank you. No other business to come before the committee, is there?
No.
Seeing 5 ayes and 4 nays, the motion does prevail and Senate File 1525 does pass and is sent to the State Gov Committee. Seeing that there is no other business in front of the committee, with that, we are adjourned.